I'd like to congratulate Anthony Albanese. He has this week rolled the dice on the ultimate political gamble. He has tied his future and the future of the once proud Labor Party not to economic prosperity, not to helping the disadvantaged, not to improving the health of the elderly and the poor, not to raising the education standards of our schools so that those being born today can look forward to competing and beating those overseas kids who are desperate to steal their jobs. No, none of those things. Albo has tied the future of the Labor Party to the weather. Bizarrely, for years the left has been adamant that climate and the weather are two very separate things. Not anymore. From now on, if you want to know who's going to win the next election, forget about watching Parliamentary Question Time or reading political blogs or analysing the opinion polls. Just look out the window. You see, because we've been in drought and had a horrendous and tragic summer of bushfires, Albo has decided that you, the people of Australia who voted for Scott Morrison at the last election, are so shallow and so superficial that you have now had an epiphany, a road to Damascus-style conversion, a come-to-Jesus moment. You, the electorate, are so easily swayed in your political judgment, Albo believes, that you have now changed your mind. And instead of voting for meeting our climate commitments, as the Coalition has done, but not at the expense of our economy, as you did last May, you'd now throw all that out the window and embark on the maddest economic experiment in Australian history, entirely decarbonising our economy no matter what the cost. Apparently, having decisively rejected Bill Shorten's uncosted, hopelessly improbable and pointless 50% emissions reductions, you now, because of the weather over the summer, will embrace Albo's uncosted and even more improbable and totally pointless 100% emissions reductions. And why I say pointless? Because that's what the Chief Scientist of Australia has told us. It's a big gamble of Albo's. Will it pay off? Ironically, it depends entirely on the weather. If the drought, despite the recent rains, continues through this coming winter, and then we have another blistering hot summer with more horrific bushfires, and then the drought carries on into the year after, and then another baking hot summer, and even more bushfires, and then the election a few months after that, well, yes, I reckon Albo is home and dry, literally dry, because we won't have had any rain. He can start measuring the curtains for the lodge, or maybe new sunshades would be more appropriate. But there's a flaw in his logic. Because if you are so fickle that you change your mind and your political convictions because of a few weeks of weather, well, it's at least 2 years to the next election. What if the drought breaks? We have a cold winter, followed by a mild summer, with very few bushfires, followed by an average year and another normal summer, and then the election. Labor used to boast about maintaining the rage. But for his gamble to pay off, Albo has to maintain the fear. I guess he's hoping that Mother Nature will play her part and provide enough events, extreme events, a flood here, a cyclone there, a bushfire over there, to allow him to pin his climate change doomsday fear campaign on. But the Australian people aren't mugs. No matter what the weather has in store for us, the public will always, of course, ask the one question Albo, like Shorten, cannot escape.
When can voters expect to learn more about Labor's emission reduction target, how you're going to get there and the cost to the economy?
I'm going to give someone else a go.
Answer the question. When can people know?
Dan.
When can people know, Mr Shorten, the cost of the economy? You didn't answer the question.
Do you know what, John? I'm going to go to the next person.
No, you should answer the question. That's why we're here to ask questions, and you're not answering the question.
Dan.
When can people expect to know, Mr Shorten, the cost of the economy?
All right, Dan.
Why can't you answer the question, Mr Shorten?
Because I'm going to give your colleagues half a go.
No, because
Dan.
you should answer it.
If the answer was impossible for Shorten to answer, it's even doubly so for Albo. For the simple reason that net zero emissions by 2050 means the complete destruction of the economic miracle that is modern Australia and the technological world we now live in. Mass unemployment, no aviation, a crumbling health service and deep, deep recession. Better keep one eye out the window, folks. You can bet Albo will be doing just that.